Hey guys, welcome to the 4x4 Canada podcast. I'm your host, Trisha.
And I'm your other host, Wes. Today we have Sean and Amanda from Mountains and Memories on Instagram. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thanks for having us, Wes.
Thank you.
Looking forward to this. I've been following you guys for a while, and I drooled over your ZR2 when we met a couple of years ago there in Vernon. Yeah, really been looking forward to this. Before we hop into it, I do want to remind our listeners that we do have a survey at our website at 4x4canadapodcast.com. It's right on the top there. And if our listeners can take a quick look at that and fill that out, the results will give us a better idea of who our listeners are and how you listen to the podcast, but also what you, the listeners, are looking for in the podcast, what genre you're looking for to listen to, and how we can improve the podcast. I know that I have some ideas on how to improve it, and Trisha's got some ideas, but more importantly, we want to hear from you guys on how we can make your listening experience better. Because in the end, that's why we do this, is for our listeners. If you can take those 5 minutes and go through the questions and any input that you can give us, we definitely appreciate it. So we got some good ideas coming up for next year, and we just want to make sure that we're on the right track, because we honestly don't know unless we have your feedback. So if you hop over to the website at 4x4canadapodcast.com and check out the survey, there's a link at the top there, and we really appreciate that. Last week, we had Matt from Maple Overland. He drives a Land Rover Discovery 3 in Ontario. And he's on the eastern side of Ontario between Kingston and Quebec. And had an interesting talk with him about his Land Rover, his exploring Ontario, but also about his trip that he took over to the East Coast. And actually, we talked a lot about his East Coast trip last week. Next week, we have Brent from GoSo Cookware. They're a new cookware company that has come out with some carbon steel frying pans with the removable handle. And we're going to talk about not only about the product, but about Brent himself and how he got into developing a new cookware, and a lot about what his favorite meals are when he's out camping and cooking. So looking forward to that one. But in the meantime, we have Sean and Amanda from Mountains and Memories. How are you guys doing today?
Good.
Doing good. Yeah.
Good.
How are you guys doing today?
I am doing great. I've got my December camping night in, so last night, so I'm good to go. How about you, Trish?
I'm great. We're talking a little bit before we started, trying to get to that December Christmas mood going. But good on the east coast of Ontario.
Yeah, you guys got a little bit of snow over there recently.
There's a lot of winter wheeling started, and just watching those videos and seeing, hey, have fun, guys, because I'm not a winter wheeler.
That's something I don't know if you know this, Sean and Amanda, but a lot of the trails are closed in Ontario for the winter.
Oh, interesting.
Oh, yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah. They're
so
closed from December 1st to the end of May, I think.
Yeah, till May. So
that's interesting.
Yeah, there's a few trails.
Some that close down in winter. We have a couple passes that close.
Okay. Yeah, our major trails close, and there's only a few that's opened to 4x4, but mostly just shuts down. Snowmobiles take over, and they're allowed to use the trails now. So there's not much winter wheeling, but some stuff up north. But yeah, I've done a few. I've done a couple winter wheeling seasons, and a whole different ball game.
Oh, it's like totally different to winter wheel.
Yeah.
Are you guys into winter wheeling?
We winter wheel and we winter camp. It's a part of Canada. Winter is 6 months out of the year. You got to make it work if you still want to go out.
Yeah, I just got into winter camping this year, and I made myself a goal of camping at least once every month. As I mentioned earlier, I got my December out of the way last night, but that is something that I haven't done much winter camping. So it's been a learning experience, but it's been a lot of fun too.
First time we winter camped was New Year's Eve 2020 was the first time we decided to winter camp.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was.
So this is before diesel heater technology, right? And it was around, but not a lot of people were putting it into the rooftop tents. So got the old propane buddy heater, put it up in the rooftop, and I was scared. You get running, so you run into bed, keep the chill off, shut it off. it was not enjoyable.
It was,
It was great to be out, like the experience, the fire. We actually brought our ice fishing shack set up by a ice fishing lake. And so we spent the time out there and then came in, and that was really good, but it was cold.
It was not a great sleep.
Yeah. And actually that kind of started the search for something better, which led me down the whole diesel heater route. And I've had numerous iterations. I've had them in giant boxes with built-in batteries, and all the way down to now my most current model is just like a tiny little box, holds the heater, the external tank, and it's so portable. It's so easy to use, easy to set up, right?
Yeah.
But admittedly, we bring it all the time now. It's just that small that you go up into the Alpine, it might be
cold.
Yeah, like it's warm down in the valley, but not when you get up there, right? So you end up breaking it out to take the chill off, right? It's just, it's actually one of the main parts of the kit now. So, yeah.
Even like West Coast, it's always so humid, right? When you're on the island, you just run your heater and it's dry heat, right? So it dries all of your stuff out and carry on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a game changer for the whole overlanding community, right? But the thing I find, even running it in May or something like that, is I usually don't run it during the night, but it's that thing in the morning where you just turn it on in the morning, just get that little bit of heat in there, and just makes it a little bit more comfortable, right?
Absolutely all night long. Turn it on at 6 p.m. and shut it off at 10 a.m. Like, just let it run.
Yeah, I've actually heard people say that it's actually easier to have it run all night rather than turning it on and off.
It consumes less power.
Yeah.
Yeah, on a power comparison, absolutely, because you're not having to have that glow plug kick on and fire it up every time. So we often just fire it up, put it on the lowest setting, and it just purs away all night. And we have one tank is 3 nights easily of camping.
Yeah, I topped mine up yesterday on the way out, and it didn't even take $5. It was like it only had a third of tank in there, and I'm like, it's cheap, right?
Yeah, it's so easy.
Yeah. So want to give a good shout out on your social, your Mountains and Memories on Instagram. I got to say, that is a great name, and that totally suits you guys.
There's reasons behind it too, and actually we'll get to it later on. I think we have some points and you'll understand where it came from. But we have our Instagram, mountainsandmemories.ca, but we also have a website, which just directs everybody. And obviously it's mountainsandmemories.ca, and it's got links to Instagram as well as our YouTube. We started a YouTube early on, haven't really gone back to it. Intention always was, when we go out with other people, let's kind of collab. And Instagram is our story. YouTube is the bigger story. So that was kind of always the plan. We do have some up, I think three videos.
3 or 4.
Yeah. So we'll get back to it someday, I'm sure.
It's a long time. You guys know it takes a lot of time.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. There's a lot of people that have done the same thing as you, and they realize how much time it takes to do a video, and to be happy with it is the other thing too, right? So,
and Instagram eats time too, right? And that's where I focus, because we treat Instagram like a scrapbook of our trips. Yeah. So I put it there first, and YouTube's the afterthought.
Yeah, I do the same thing. My Instagram, my personal one, is like a scrapbook of my trips and that. And I know, Trisha, yours is the same, but I found that I've actually been really getting away from social media overall this last 6 months or so. And people have probably noticed that our 4x4 Canada podcast Instagram has definitely been not as active as what it was. And same with my personal one, but I just been burnt out from this and work and the new system at work and the podcast and life and trying to get everything going on, just getting back into it. But it's so easy to get burnt out on social media.
It is. And actually, Sean and I have been less active lately too, because life side quests happen. And I took on a new career, and we moved to Calgary for a little while. Now we moved back to Saskatchewan, and then Sean is reinventing himself a little bit.
So I previously was a pipe fitter by trade. I did that for quite a while, and now I'm taking mechanics. I'm actually just in my 2nd year trade school mechanics, and I love it, right? I wanted to do something that I'm passionate about. I really lost my drive for pipe fitting. I didn't enjoy it anymore. I like mechanics. I also like to fix my own things cheaply. So this just works really well. It's been amazing. I have to say, like going back to school first year, because I did first year 6 months ago.
Yeah.
And it's 2 months per kind of year of school, right? 8 weeks. I hadn't been to school in 20 years. It was
It's a lot.
mind blowing how it was different, right? But this time around, it's been great. I'm just like cruising through, and we're doing engines. And I actually brought in an engine that I swapped and needed a rebuild. And I'm rebuilding an engine, so now I'll have a backup engine for the.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
It's good. It's win-win, right? Yeah, lots of fun. So
I love,
but because of these kind of things, we're just not around.
Yeah. And I like to keep the scrapbook in order. I don't like to post things out of order, because then when I scroll back on it, I'm like, that's not how that happened. Yeah, we've been posting a little bit less, but now we're getting back in rhythm, and hopefully we'll be posting more. And I like the winter camp. I like how quiet it is. I'm addicted to fishing. I like ice fishing. They go hand in hand.
Yeah.
And there's no bugs.
And there's no bugs.
And you can have great fires too. There's some good positives, right?
Kudos to you guys for both making a career change. That's not an easy thing. You guys are around my age area, and to do a change like that after 20 years or 30 years, whatever, in the industry, that's a big change. That takes a lot of balls to do.
Yeah, a lot of balls. A lot of
Mechanics takes a lot of balls. Like mine was like more like a sidestep, but Sean but he's great at it, right? He built our truck. Like he's mechanically inclined. A couple times he didn't know how to fix a couple of things. And I think it just ate away at him until he was like, I'm just going to learn the trade and then I'll know.
Yeah. But also doing something that you have a passion for. That's one thing that I've been doing parts, both automotive or heavy duty, for the last 24 years. No, 34 years. And I'm at the point where I just don't enjoy it anymore. So I know exactly what you mean. And it's scary to think about making a career change or a whole life change. It's a big step.
Yeah. The reality is, like, none of us are out there working and then retiring and then going on these adventures. So we really should enjoy all of our lives, not just that retirement part. So I want to enjoy what I do for a career. I want to enjoy the in-betweens, right? So that was really it. It was something we decided just around when all this overlanding really took off for us. When we got back into the outdoors, we're like, let's live life now and just love it, right? And it's so good out there. Do you know how many great places are out there? Like BC is amazing. I love it there.
Yeah. Did you hear that, Trisha? BC is amazing.
Heard that.
Yeah,
I heard that. I did. No, it is. It is.
Ontario is really not that much farther.
It's true. It's true. No, every time I visit BC, I usually go to the mainland. I'm in Vancouver because I have family there. But as soon as you hit Vancouver, I'm like, oh my God. Why don't I live here? I don't get it. Just to be in the city and seeing the mountains and being right beside the ocean. I do live by the Great Lake of Ontario, but it's not the same. Yeah,
it's not
beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful.
But having said that, you've got your family and everything else there, right, in Toronto. I can't blame you for staying there, for sure. You mentioned about doing things now and rather than waiting until retirement. And you got me thinking, my dad passed away about 5 years after he retired. And that kind of hit me like, okay, I need to do something with my life, and B, get out there and enjoy nature and just do the stuff I love rather than just sitting around and waiting for life to come to me. I got to make it happen and do these things. I think it's a great point you made about you can't wait until retirement because who knows if you'll be here.
Yeah. That's funny you should mention. My dad passed away when I was 18. He made 54, didn't even get to retire. So it's absolutely a motivation for us to live. Like, don't wait. Do it. If you want to do it, do it. Don't wait. Make away.
So have you guys always been into camping, or is this something that just come on with in the last 4 or 5 years?
So for me, I was born in BC. I was born in Prince Rupert. Actually, most of my youth around Rupert, I was in Scouts, I was in Cubs, I was outdoors. We were hiking mountains. We were loving life, right? It was good times. Moved from there to Gibson's Landing on the Sunshine Coast, and a little bit less, but still Scouts, Cubs, great experiences, right? You're in those organizations and you're just out every weekend. And then lastly, I shifted to the Okanagan, and Vernon was one of the last places where I was at. And just new pursuits. So you're like late teens, and there's other things that you start doing, right? Loved it, but just grew away from it, and always remembered that time fondly, right? And then Amanda.
Yeah, I grew up very actively outdoors. My dad was very active, avid outdoorsman, very much into hunting, very much into fishing. So, end of the school year, like the day after school was done, my dad would pack my mom, my sister, and I into the camper, haul us up to the lake, drop us off, and then he'd come home and work during the week, come up, fish on the weekends. We would stay there until the weekend before school started, swimming lessons, survival lessons. I ended up in conservation school for a little while. And then he passed away when I was 18, and I just stopped going.
Yeah.
For a little while.
And then how did you guys meet up?
We met online before it was cool. I are actually both a little bit geeky. I know he totally doesn't. I don't think we fit the stereotype. But yeah, we were chatting online before dating online was like the normal way to date. And actually, one day I found out his Christmas plans fell through, and he was like by himself on Christmas, had plans elsewhere, so didn't have anything for Christmas dinner. And I felt bad for this stray boy who was stuck without anything. So I packed up like a Christmas dinner meal and drove to Wainwright, and we met, and it went really well. And he came to Marsden. We lived just across the Saskatchewan border, and spent New Year's with me. And he actually never left. Together ever since.
Oh, that is a great story. That is awesome.
We're coming up on 20 years together, so that was a while ago.
Yeah. Good for you guys. That is wonderful. It really makes it a lot easier when both people in a relationship are into some of the same things, like camping or adventuring or four-wheeling. And not everybody, like, they don't have to be as involved as the other partner, but at least has some interest with it. So that's been one of my struggles in some of my relationships. But the fact that you guys can do what you both love together, that is great.
Oh, it's amazing. It's what makes it so addicting, I think, is because I loved doing it when our kids were younger and we camped like at the lake and stuff. But now that our kids are older, it's become kind of something that Sean and I do together as like couple time, which is novel after you have kids for 20 years. Yeah, it's been really great. I love sharing the time together.
So we met a couple of years ago at the Vernon Overland meetup. And I do want to say that I believe they have a date for that already this year. I think it's June 7th, I believe I saw.
I think so.
Yeah, I'll confirm that up later on. But that's where we originally met. And I saw you guys' ZR2 sitting in the parking lot. And I'm like, oh my God, that thing is beautiful. It's a beast. It's, I believe, sitting on 35s at that point. And it was just like, oh, this is a beautiful truck. And I did remember is Sean, and you had this mustache going on at that point. That was just epic. Like, I had so much man jealousy going on between your epic mustache and your epic truck that I was totally jealous.
It was getting out of hand at one point. I think I had it able to come up like this high. Like, it was getting pretty wild for sure.
It was a little weird. A lot of men had man jealousy, Wes. I will tell you, a lot of men had man jealousy. The amount of times that random men would come up and they would all say the same thing. Your mustache is magnificent. And I was like, what man uses that word?
You should have seen it, Trisha. It was almost like a handlebar mustache. Like, it was
it's pretty epic. Good.
I
I
see you.
like the beard. I like the beard too. He does the lumberjack look pretty good, and he lives up to it.
Yeah,
Well, from
it
one
was
one
funny.
bearded guy to another, I love your beard too. So.
Thank you. Yeah, I went into first year of school and I had the full mustache, and I decided, you know what, I need a break from it, and so I have a pictures, student ID, full mustache. Go back to the school naughty 6 months later, full beard. And I got 2 different pictures. This is what it does to you going to school, guys.
One year, this has got to be 5-6 years ago. I actually shaved my beard off, and I had a beard for 5 years before that. Oh yeah, and I walked into the gym the next morning, and the guy, I need some ID, and I'm like, the guy weighs me in every single day, right? But I need some ID, and I show him my ID, and he looks at the computer, he looks at me, and he's, that's not you. And I'm like, yeah, it's me. I went to work, and even my coworkers didn't recognize me either. It was so funny.
When Sean went for the mustache, like he had the beard, I think, for 15 years before he went to the mustache. Our kids had never seen him really that they could remember clean shaven. So it was a shocker.
Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt.
It was pretty weird for a while.
Let's actually move over into how you guys got into the overlanding scene. I know you got the ZR2 and that, and was that your first truck in this whole overlanding scene, or? So
we have to thank COVID for why this kind of all came about, because we were doing the camping thing where we've gone back 2017. Neither of us had camped actually in our entire start of our marriage, right? Amanda stopped after her father passed away. I grew out of it. Yeah. And 2017 came along and we're like, we were talking about maybe movie. And Amanda's, I need to take you guys to northern Saskatchewan and show you where I experienced stuff. I'm like, okay, all right, we'll go see these sloughs you call lakes. I'm like, I couldn't picture Saskatchewan having lakes like I knew in BC, right? Like the Kalamalka, the Okanagan Lake, like these rich colors. I'm like, no way, you're flat. It's a slough.
Saskatchewan is fields and flatlands, right?
I didn't believe her. We went out that year, family trip, went to a place that her dad had taken her for many years fishing, and it was so much fun. All of us, we were all fishing off of a friend's pontoon. So we had 6 lines out, and we're just hitting fish constantly and just looking around, and our family's loving it. We're like, okay, all right, time to bring this back to our family. And we spent the next 2 years. We went and bought the truck. We bought a camper. We bought a boat. We're like, all in. This is great, right?
Yeah, really all in. Like seasonal campsite, like all in. Kids were loving it. But at that point, our kids were getting a little bit older. And then COVID happened, and in Saskatchewan, they shut down all provincial parks. And in Saskatchewan, like free land camping, like random camping, doesn't exist here. We were like, we can't go camping. And at this point, like, it's a huge part of our lives again.
Yep.
And Sean saw randomly on, I don't even know where you saw it, a picture of a truck with a rooftop tent on it. And he was like, we could do something like this.
I remember showing her the picture online. I'm like, I don't even think it was a ZR2, or maybe it was just Colorado. It was close enough. I'm like, we could probably do this. And then we could camp wherever we want. And we don't got to worry about this anymore. And we went from, in the period of a month, because all the campgrounds are shut down. And, well, we had a lot of time on our hands suddenly. Every weekend, we're like, we could do this. We're building it up. Let's buy this. And I think literally in a period of a month and a half, we had designed what we wanted initially, ordered, and had everything on the way or getting installed with just the basic start, which was rooftop tent, rack, 35 bumper winch to get us out of trouble. And that was about it. Enough to get us out there and see really what we can even find out there. And wow. And now, like, you look back, that was 4 years ago, and the places that we have been blow my mind. I remember one of the first adventures we did was, because we're in Saskatchewan, right? We travel into Alberta a lot, but it's all rocky Alberta, right? Along that edge. And then even more, we like to go into the Kootenays and into BC, right?
Yeah.
I'm traveling this road. It's called the 40, or nicknamed the 40. It's Highway 40, runs all along. It's dirt road. And it was just so much fun to explore and have no limits while we're out there. We're like, hey, what about here? Pulled over, camped, right? Nothing stopped us because it's this free camping area.
Yeah.
Public land use.
We camped at Abraham Lake on that trip. We camped at down in Walker's Valley Road and in the Ghost Public Lands Use Zone at TransAlta. And they all have some really pretty views. So it's easy to get hooked.
Yeah. And here we are now. Just
everywhere you go, you want to go 5 more places. Yeah. So we've made a lot of miles and made a lot of pins on Gaia, and there's a lot of question marks. There's a lot of where's that go? And can't stop, won't stop.
Yeah, I've seen so many of your guys' photos and videos of you guys in the Rocky Mountains, whether it be on the BC side or the Alberta side. And the Rocky Mountains is the place to be as far as I'm concerned.
It's good. It's Sean's roots, right? That's the mountains, and we're going back so he can show me where he grew up, and then we go up to northern Saskatchewan, and he gets to see where I grew up.
Yep.
And that's where it comes from, right? Mountains and memories. It's both our past and our presents.
Gotcha. Yep, that totally makes sense. Northern Saskatchewan is actually quite beautiful. A lot of people don't realize it, like you, Sean, you said earlier. But there's a lot of great lakes up there. There's a lot of great fishing up there. And
spectacular, world-class fishing. Half of the province. Everybody thinks about the fields, but half of the province is in the Boreal Shield. And we have 2 watersheds that come into the province, and they create our slogan is like land of living skies and then land of 1,000 lakes. And there really are. And the fishing is so good.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been up there a couple times, and it just blew me away the first time. I'm like, this is not what I expected.
It's totally different.
Yeah. It's quite a lot like in Northern Ontario, Trisha. Lots of lakes and beautiful and yeah, it's absolutely a real surprise.
They're both Boreal Shield that goes across them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lots of good wheeling up there too, imagine.
There's lots of good wheeling and lots of nice waterfalls. The Churchill makes some nice waterfalls. And then there's Athabasca and a little bit of sandy territory up there.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So let's hop into your truck. You got a little ZR2. What can you tell us about it?
All right. So it's a 2018 Colorado ZR2, right? That's a Gen 2. There was one generation before, and there's now a Gen 3, which started in 23, right? It's a different, if you've seen Mike, he got one of the new body styles. Really beautiful, right?
Yeah.
So we're in between. This version came stock. The ZR2 gives you 2-inch of lift, right? So right off the hop, you don't have to go looking for a lift kit per se. You can start off in really your stock tires. But we wanted to go to 35s was our idea, right? So we got ourselves coilovers, adjustable coilovers, so we could bring up the front. And we got those from a company, Peak Suspension. Super awesome guys. They support the Colorado community big time, right? We got them. And then leaf pack in the back, just went with the taller leaf pack. And between those two, that gave us another 1.5 inches, almost 2 inches. So we got 3.5, almost 4 inches of lift. And it's really almost stock, right? We're not having weird geometry going on. I'm not blowing CVs, things work. That was my kind of mantra, was I want to keep it stock low, performing good. We also went with some upper control arms from the same company, from Peak. And the reason was it allowed me to caster everything forward, because fitting, we now have 37s. So fitting 37s into this was challenging, I will say. Had to really move the alignment forward, lots of internal cutting. But also what kind of tied it all in was the flares that we have. We have an AV flare that has a bunch of cutout material, like 2.5 inches right on the inside of your wheels gets cut out of your body, of your fender. So made room for this. And that really coupled with 4, 5, 6 gears, so we could bring everything back to, I wanted my 37s to feel like stock. I wanted the same kind of performance that I would expect in stock. I didn't want to struggle. And it wasn't quite enough. So Amanda got a supercharger, actually it was for both of us, but she's like, I got you a birthday present. You just have to put it in. I'm like, what the heck do you got? And she actually got Lingenfelter supercharger that we installed together. So yeah, between that and the 456 gears, we run 37s amazingly. Like, I don't notice the difference. It's just, it feels stock to me. I work as an automotive service tech. I drive these trucks around all the time. I'm like, hey, it's the same, right? That was really the core of how do we make our truck perform like stock, not have a lot of breakdowns, because we travel from Saskatchewan and we go sometimes all the way to Vancouver Island, right? Like, you're talking about thousands of kilometers in one trip. You can't be breaking down along the way. Things happen, but you need reliability, right?
Yeah.
So that was why I did that, right? From there, we moved into how do we protect our investment? Because we went out on a couple trips. I ripped off a shock on the underside, did a couple
Things.
a couple purposes, right? So we're like, all right, what's out there? You'll see it with Mike. He's got the Bison version, right?
Yeah.
AUV basically had all these skids they designed. We didn't have it because we had the ZR2, which actually predated the Bison. So went out and got the skid package that they have.
Yeah.
Slapped that on. Amazing. Protected everything underneath.
Did all of it.
We did what's called a shock relocation kit. So we took our rear shocks and moved them outboard of the main axle. So you can't catch them now. You're not going to bang them on a rock or anything else. Threw a diff skid on there, and now it's not a concern. It gives you that confidence that you can drive through places that are a little bit rocky and go, I'll be all right. I'm not going to damage it. Again, back to that. Let's get home after the trip.
Yeah.
We went and got ourselves a Prinsu roof rack, which is pretty much
standard.
I don't think anybody
now
else makes them. It's just them. But we wanted to be able to keep everything up top that was quick access. So all of our recovery stuff's up top in the boxes, and seasonal. So fishing rods or snowshoes, whatever, and the other ones. And then also along that mantra of recovery, we made sure that we had some bumpers to take care of that. We got the front bumper from CBI. We got what's called their Covert series. It's like a half bumper. It's not full, right? We had to keep light too, because what I started to realize as I'm building this up, I'm like, we're getting back. Who's going to pull us out? We're going to need like full sizes to drag us out of places. So got ourselves the half bumper up front, threw a winch in there, went and got ourselves a full swing bumper in the rear so we could carry our spare from CBI as well. And then just to top it off, we got some sliders from them as well. And between their bumpers and their sliders, our skid package, we don't worry when we're out there.
No, we're pretty armored pretty well.
Yeah. Look little heavy, but we manage it, right? We've lightened things in other ways where we can.
Which leads to the rack.
Right. We recently made a change to our rack. You would have seen the old one. It was a KB Voodoo rack. Really nice, lightweight aluminum, I think 46 pounds altogether for this rack. We moved to a new version that they have, the CXR. It's super modular. It has like slides that can come out, going doors. Just our whole idea with this new one is we want some options where we're going to move stuff
inboard
into the rack, like above our tonneau in that area. It's not hanging out. It's in, it's protected, but you pop a door open, you grab it.
Yeah.
So great. When I saw this thing, I'm like, can we save up for this? I'd like to upgrade. Absolutely.
Well, there's so much wasted space there, right? Between the tonneau and the tent.
And we hang up stuff. Like, we got some tight trails, right? These trails are tight, and like you're catching trees in your max tracks and like all kinds of stuff. It just makes it easy.
Yeah.
Leaner and meaner.
Yeah.
But how are people at the mall going to know that you're an overlander if you don't have your max tracks on the outside?
Yeah. And in an effort to save weight, we went to the iCamper. We got the SkyCamp Mini 3.0 tent.
Yep.
So the 3.0 is cool because we could keep all of our bedding in it. Tons of space, nice and light. Yeah, it works great. I like it a lot.
Yeah, 125 pounds for that. Again, like I said, we gained some weight protecting ourselves, but we got it back in other ways. There was options out there for us. Yeah, so iCamper, SkyCamp Mini, and then you're not an overlander if you don't got a 270 awning, right? So we got ourselves a quick pitch awning. We've had a few different brands. One of the first ones we had was geez, who
The
was it?
Rhino rack.
Yeah, Rhino rack. And it was like plastic hinges and like you had to stretch it out and stake everything down. One gust of wind, it
You're
was broke,
snapping knuckles.
and you're fixing it. Great, kept the snow off. But we quickly looked to upgrade to one of those cool freestanding ones, right? And that's what we got. We got the quick pitch one from a friend of ours at Gear for Overland in Red Deer. And he has like, he had the tent for us too. We had the tent, the awning. Great guy. Just like literally anything you need, he can find for you. And he's close, right? He's Red Deer's not that far for us.
And he usually has stuff.
Yeah, and stuff as well, right? And I've convinced her to buy it. We need to buy it now because if not, she'll think about it too much.
Exactly. See it in your hands and then go from there. And Aubrey's a great guy. Gear for Overland, great shop.
Oh, yeah, he's awesome. He knows his stuff.
Yeah.
He's mindful. He really sells stuff that like is good quality and that he knows it's good quality. And he's awesome.
He doesn't have the cheap stuff there, but it's the good stuff. It's going to last you.
Try once.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's a good mantra to have. That awning, I have put it personally through some abuse. I wiped out, grabbed it, hung off of it. Like
West Coast, Vancouver Island, ocean storm. It like, oh man, it was crazy. And that awning did not miss a beat, didn't bend, didn't rip, nothing, just soldiered through the entire thing.
It was a good investment. Absolutely. And we haven't done the walls yet, but I'd like to have the walls because I want to box us in for the winter times. And
for the winter time, it makes it really a lot better. Throw a propane fire pit in there and you're laughing, right?
Yeah.
So
just heats up that space and suddenly you have your tent warm up top. You have a hangout place down below. Yeah. It's a pretty nice combo.
Yeah. We did that last November and it was incredible. We got out of there and it was like 8 inches of snow on the ground when we went to go to bed and we didn't even know. It was nice and warm and
Sorry.
It's all good.
That's Bundy.
So then we have a Retrax tonneau cover. So basically, like, we make a lot of miles. We wanted our stuff to say relatively dust-free and clean. Yeah. We built a custom kitchen slide that works for us and have a Dometic fridge back there. And then we throw all of our other gear back there as well.
Yeah. Started out, everybody starts out some way differently. We had started with, it was a toolbox full of kitchen stuff. And it would take 20 minutes to unpack your kitchen. And it was always, I looked online, I'm looking at these cool slide kitchens. My goodness.
They're expensive.
I had to choose between 35s for the kitchen. I chose the 35s like a smart person would, right? So, and we made a custom slide. It was an experience, but it does everything
it works great.
Yeah. It's been actually really good. A lot of people like to check it out and glean some ideas from it. And I'm like, do it. This is what it's about, right? And that is the Overland community. You have so many people that are ingenious and come up with ideas and they want you to share the idea, right? Here, copy it, please.
Yeah, that's actually something I've been looking at that I'll probably be doing in the spring is a slide out drawers and one side be a kitchen on one side because it just makes it like so much easier. You don't have to bother about packing around totes and things like that. So
we're like set up. We can be rolling and set up, and we're set up in 10 minutes and teardowns maybe 15. We go out more than most people, so like we're a pretty well-oiled machine. But how can you complain? 10 minutes and you got a drink in your hand and you're enjoying your campsite.
Yeah, definitely agree for sure.
So then,
some other notable things that we've done over the years on it. We have a dual battery setup. We have dual battery. Power runs up into the tent, actually. We have plugins up there. We have lights all off of it because you can bring power packs up there, but they die, right? We're like,
and you forget them.
You got to charge your phone or something, and the power pack's dead. And we eliminated all that by going dual battery, DC to DC charging system, and it runs all the way to the back of the box with a bunch of hookups up into the tent, bunch of hookups. And we really never worry about power anymore in that way. We just it'll always charge the second battery. I can run everything all night. And then to extend when we're at a location for a couple days, we added some solar to it as well. So we have solar that will feed throughout the day if we don't go driving, being DC to DC charging. And then again, what always takes forever when you're out wheeling? There's two major things that really take time, and one of them is the airing up and airing down, right?
It's just
got pretty tired of. I had the little guys. They're great. They all work, but every single tire going up, letting out. We found this built-in 4-corner air up system from a company down the States called Colorado and Canyon Enthusiasts. Really great supporters of the community, and it basically puts a hard line throughout all of it, and all you do is you hook up little whips. You just go clip on each of your 4 corners, go under the hood where they've put the compressor, fire it up, way you go. You walk away, right? It's all
Yeah. And we have the twin arbs, so it's pretty efficient with things. So yeah, you hop out and you throw your whips on, quick and easy, walk away, come back, air it up, air down. Nice.
Yeah. I like that idea, how it's hardwired back to each wheel. That just makes so much more sense. I do have the front row kit where you can run the hoses and stuff like that. But to me, having it hard. Exactly, right? You're rolling them back up and stuff like that. And having it hardwired right back to a nozzle by each tire, that just makes so much more sense to me.
I think it's easy. Admittedly, every once in a while in mud season, I get my arm dirty, but better than cleaning off a whole bunch of stuff and throwing it in our recovery box, a bunch of mud.
Yeah. Trisha can tell you that airing up and airing down is one of my, I don't hate
it. I hate it.
Wander around and chat to people.
Yeah. See, that's the thing, though, is you don't have to monitor it, though, right?
No. Yeah.
No.
And that's the fact. I've got to sit there and I've got to watch my gauge on my compressor and stuff like that.
Yeah. I would be sitting there doing each tire, and I'm looking around, and I'm like, where the heck is Amanda? And she's off visiting everyone. And I'm like, this isn't fair. I want to be able to visit too. And really that allowed it. I'm just airing down, walk away. Right? Yeah, get to visit. Because when you're out on the trails with friends or maybe new people you've met, and that initial, hey, I'm at the trailhead, I'm airing down, how are you doing? That matters. That matters, eh? Yeah. So that was a big part of it. I love it now.
Yeah. Lights. You want to talk lights and the last couple of things?
Sure. Couple things to round out the truck, I guess. We have everybody has a bar up top, bar down below. We like to call it the Jesus beam. It's something like 40,000 lumens. It's ridiculously powerful upper bar that we got from Bright Source. I think they're in Vancouver. When I was first looking for lights, but like we've had this from the very beginning.
Oh yeah, 2020.
The thing is amazing. Like when I turn that on, I can see down the trail to like,
wherever you want to go.
You name it. Yeah. Picked up a bottom bar from them as well, and we actually had pod lights from them too. I changed the pod lights when I saw a really awesome deal at the expo. Treadhead Garage was selling some Squadrons. And I'd looked at them for a while. I wanted to switch over to Ambers. So we grabbed them, and then I moved the Bright Source pods to Chase lights. So we have a pretty solid light up system, I think, between our pod lights, our upper bar or lower bar. We can roll in 1 o'clock at night and it's fine. We can see all of the trail. Right?
Yeah, lights 360, because actually in the handles on our Prinsu rack, we have little Baja lights in there too. So we just light up all the way around it. We roll in late sometimes. Saskatchewan to the mountains, it's 8 hours on the road. You roll in late sometimes, so it's nice to have light.
Yeah.
And we had an interview with Bright Source. Bright Source is not as well known as a name as some of the other ones, but the quality of their product is
reasonably priced and Canadian. Like they're good.
It's unfortunate. As we were building the truck, it is what it is. There wasn't a lot of Canadian products, right? Yeah. So we went to the next best we could, a lot of American supporting companies, which was great. Yep. But we always got it in the back of our mind that we're Canada. I love the country I'm in. I love Canada. I love supporting local. Yeah. So it's always in the back of our mind. Hey, can we support somebody that's local to us? And then they're all fixing us good. Like Canadians, we know how to treat each
Well,
other. And we
and-
just good attitude.
Don't have the exchange rates.
Oh,
Don't have the
yeah.
crazy
Oh,
shipping.
yeah.
Like, why not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those things are getting a little bit out of hand, right? So,
Well,
yeah.
And then some other stuff that we carry a little bit. We have Sean built us a portable shower, like our portable diesel heater. And we got the quick pitch ensuite if we go on a longer trip. I got sick of the Glacier Lake quick hair wash. I got a lot of hair. It doesn't ever happen quick. So he built me a on-demand shower. So that's awesome.
Yeah, I took one of those like quick hot, instant hot water demand things and put it inside a carrying box and piped it up with connectors, and you just blip, 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 connect it up, instant hot water. That's a pretty game changer.
It was beautiful. We were at the Yukon in October, and we had been on the road at that point for, I think we were going on we might have been going on week 3. And like, he threw it into, like, there was frost on the trees, and he throws it in a river, and boom, you're having a super hot shower. It's awesome.
Yeah.
And then we always carry our diesel heater. We have a Lifesaver jerry can that we use for water. We always have our chainsaw. We usually carry 20 liters of fuel. We have a hard-mounted radio, good quality, because it's important to be able to communicate both on a trail and when you're on an FSR in BC. It's important. And then like a few odds and ends, just quality of comfort inside the truck.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much it. But the list is getting longer. Yeah.
I'm sure we forgot tons of things.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure we'll go out and we'll be like, oh, we didn't even talk about this. Yeah. But that's the beauty of 4-acres, like dialing in the rig. We have spent a lot of time and a lot of iterations and really dialed in what we use and what we need.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I want to go back to Peak for a second, because I know that even though they're not a Canadian company, but Peak Suspension is, as you mentioned, they are all about the Colorado guys. To any of our Colorado or ZR2 listeners out there, Peak Suspension, that's basically how the company was started, was building products for the ZR2s. And I've heard
has a pretty badass ZR2 as well.
Yes.
I will give him props. And he's got a new AT4X that is absolutely beautiful built. He's getting into the Silverado. So yeah, he's huge about supporting the Chevy community, and really, like, he likes to drive their trucks. So he's an enthusiast as well.
Yeah, no, it's definitely one. Like, if there is any listeners out there and you are looking at suspension stuff, it's worth looking into, because like I say, that's where he got his start, was in the ZR2 stuff for the most part.
He's got new shocks for the ZR2 coming out too, very soon.
Yeah. We've been with the DSSVs, like that, what comes with the ZR2 from the beginning, right? We were fortunate, didn't have leaking problems, but there was like a batch of some bad ones that had that issue. We have replaced our entire shock system once at about 125,000 kilometers. No leaking, but they were getting weak. Yeah. So we changed them all. And at that time, I said, I'll stay with them again. I had a good discount. Now I have a better discount. I do work for GM. So it's pretty easy to stay with them because of the price point. But I wonder what I'm missing. I see these other brands and I'm like, man, people are going to these other ones for some reason. Nick's got one. The ones that he's working on, he's really thought through external reservoirs. He's got me interested in it. I'm pretty stubborn. I don't make a change until I really think it through. That says something, right?
Yeah, I'm definitely interested to see what he's got. I do know that those Multimatics, they have had their fair share of leakage problems. I know a couple of guys that have gone through a couple sets of them.
There's a lot of guys that have gone through a lot of sets. We got a good year and a good batch number. Yeah. We are fortunate.
Yeah.
Have you named your truck?
Trisha, we have not named our truck. I'm a Chevy girl. I don't think Chevy girls are supposed to name their trucks. I think that's a Jeep thing.
It is. So,
the naming of the truck.
Us Jeep people love to name our trucks.
No names, no ducks. I'll take a bow tie if you're offering one, but that's where the line is.
Way off topic, totally off topic, but I saw something on either Facebook or Instagram the other day where somebody had put a actual dead duck on a Jeep.
Really?
Oh, wow.
That's taking document to the next level.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Like it's a death of the
Wild.
duck.
It was the guys like, are you taking it too far kind of idea? And it was probably the owner, and he was out duck hunting and thought this would be funny. But
Funny.
Yeah.
just, with a little thing they had with it was pretty funny. So it's gone too far now.
Yeah, the ducks are a whole thing. The ducks are a whole thing.
I think I literally had my whole dash, like the whole windshield's full of ducks. And every time I go wheeling, I would take them all off and put them away. And I'm crawling, I'm going up, whatever. So I'm like, every time, damn it, these ducks. And then one time, nope, the ducks are going. I'm sorry. It's over. We're breaking up. We're going away.
It's too much effort.
Yeah, it's done.
Yeah, and who wants ducks flying all over while you're trying to wheel and pay attention?
Yeah, no.
I actually had a friend of mine comment. We had our 4x4 toy run here last weekend, and he is a tow truck driver. And he was talking to some of the duck people, and he's, please take those off. He goes, when your airbags go off,
Oh, God.
those are going to hurt kind of idea. And they're like, never thought of that.
No, never considered that.
Yeah. So, did you know that the duck thing actually started here in Canada?
I did know that it started in Canada.
Yeah.
I don't even remember where I saw that not long ago.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we lost the lady that started it. We lost her earlier this year. But
I feel like I learned about this from the 4x4 Canada podcast. Maybe.
Probably.
I might have.
Yeah. But on to better subjects, anything other than Jeeps. So you guys spend a lot of time camping and stuff like that. What are some of your favorite meals when you're out camping?
So I'm big on cooking, Wes. My family is all professional chefs. My grandma's professional chef. My mom's professional chef. My sister's professional chef.
Sister?
Yes. I hold my own in the kitchen. So I like to say that anything I can cook at home, I can cook on a campfire because we do spend a lot of time out there, and I've figured out most things.
Yeah.
Favorite things on the campfire, you can't beat a properly cooked steak on a fire. I like to do jalapenos wrapped in bacon with cream cheese on the campfire. They crisp up and get nice and smoky and are really good. I like to do it with asparagus wrapped in bacon too. My kind of weakness, I like dessert a lot. Homemade pies on the campfire are a thing that we do. And I like to do like cobblers on the campfire. Like when we're in the Okanagan and it's fruit season, either we'll go and raid Sean's mom's trees, or we'll hit a fruit stand and I'll grab peaches or whatever's looking good, and I'll make peach cobbler on the fire. We really like to do that kind of stuff. Not only explore trails around an area, but explore the communities that we go through and support the communities that we go through. So we'll hit up like a local butcher, bakeries. Bonus points if you've got a cheesery. That's always awesome when you find one of those. When you're on the coast, hit a fish market and get fresh seafood. And then we just kind of meal plan around that. When we're on long trips, we try to go into town like once every 4 days or so and kind of restock. And then you just see what's fresh and what's local and what's awesome and get creative.
That is awesome. That's the best way to do it. I love the fact that you want to work with you want to purchase from the locals. Tourism is a huge thing here, right? And any way that you can help these locals.
And overlanders, if you go in and you support that community, people are going to be a little happier to see you around.
Yep. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. And also tons of local roasted good coffees out there.
Oh, yeah. Just spend a little time, Radium, Infamere, any of these little communities that are out there, even the places in between, the ones that are like, you blink and you go through. We've pulled into them. And there's homemade sandwiches. There's only 4 or 5 of them. That's all they made that day.
There was a place in Dawson City that had homemade sandwiches topped off in the back of the store. They were so friggin' good. We stopped there every day for sandwiches in the afternoon.
Yeah. But you won't find those places unless you actually stop in the community. The trails are amazing. These are great, but you got to stop in the community, spend a little time, drive around. And wow.
Yeah.
And that to us, like we started out as wheeling's fun or like camping's fun. Now it's everything.
Adventuring is fun. And that's part of it.
Yeah.
Seeing the communities. I also really have a thing for pottery mugs, so I'll make Sean pull over at a lot of roadside pottery places to see if I can find something.
Yeah.
I agree with you guys 100%. There's a little place in Falkland, which is what, 100 people live in Falkland, just outside of Vernon there.
Yeah.
And there's a spot there that has got the best sandwiches. Same idea, right? Just little tiny spot, and you drive by it 100 times and you never even notice it's there.
Yeah.
It's those little spots that I find are...
It really is. If you ever go down by Crow's Nest Pass, there's a place that makes cinnamon buns. Like, you don't go through there without getting a cinnamon bun, but go early in the morning because they'll be gone.
Though cinnamon buns are one of my weaknesses, so...
Do you do them on the campfire in like a cast iron?
I have not yet, but that is one of my plans for... Actually, we're talking about doing that either in January or February. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. That's 10 out of 10. Do recommend.
Trisha.
Yeah.
When I used to live in Toronto, I would hop onto the subway every day, and the subway had a Cinnabon in it.
Yeah.
So as you're walking down the stairs to the subway, all you could smell was cinnamon buns every morning. It was so hard.
That's torture.
Oh, it was so hard not to stop
so
there.
Well.
Yeah, right? Perfect location.
Yeah.
Oh, just brilliant.
Yeah. How can you wait and not buy a cinnamon bun while you're standing there?
Yeah, you could maybe walk fast, but you're standing there for 5 minutes, you buy one.
Yeah.
Exactly. That brings back such good memories.
Now I feel like I have to make cinnamon buns for the snack of the week to go in lunches.
There we go. Dwayne from Just Tipping Adventures. He doesn't like pancakes, so his wife makes him cinnamon bun pancakes.
I'm not a fan of pancakes either. Our thing is I'm big on baking bread, so I'll make homemade brioche, and we do French toast with proper local syrups that we find around. Like when you're in the Yukon, try the birch syrup.
Yeah.
Absolutely recommend it. Saskatchewan has maple syrup. In the Okanagan, how do you not have some of the fruit syrups that are out there? Yeah, French toast and random syrup. 10 out of 10.
That's actually something I haven't done when camping for years. Now that I think about it, is French
easy
toast
and low mess, easy to carry ingredients. It's perfect.
That's what I was thinking. It's such an easy thing, and there's not a lot of cleanup to do. I mean, that's one of the things I hate doing, admittingly, is doing the cleanup after. I don't mind doing prep before I go and all that stuff, but it's just the cleanup after I just hate. So I'll have to throw that on the list for sure.
French toast. Yep, it's good.
That's one thing that I've really noticed about this whole overland community is so many people are foodies.
Yeah, we like to eat food and beautiful locations. That's exactly what it is. Why not?
It was funny. You guys weren't here last year for the June meetup in Vernon, but basically I got up there early and I cooked my dinner because I actually forgot to eat during the day. I was just going around talking to everybody.
It's so busy.
So, I quickly made dinner. I was one of the first people up there. And eventually everybody else got there and they're making dinner. And I just ended up going from camp to camp. And some of the meals were just like, oh my God. Like,
oh yeah, everybody that goes to that meetup, like you got Andrew's always got something good going. Bill, like cinnamon buns on the Scottle to start expo mornings. Bill is the bomb. What would we do without him? We actually got him in trouble because we had a tequila night and Bill and I got a little involved and he didn't wake up in the morning to make coffee. And I was informed that I'm not allowed to give myself tequila anymore.
You guys are coffee drinkers, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Is there a favorite coffee that you guys do have? Like a favorite brand?
Something rich, dark, and I like a strong coffee for sure.
Yeah.
Favorites? I don't know.
It would be really hard to pick a favorite. There's a lot of good coffee out there.
Yeah. I like there's a few, because I guess we're not growing coffee here in Canada, but we're roasting it. And we have a lot of these local companies that are roasting. And there's some really nice ones that are out there. I can't really place one.
I don't know, they're around Radium is probably one of the ones that I like. I don't know, they get sold at the bakery. I can't even tell you who makes it, but they have some great coffee. And try the scones.
I like when we're out with friends, we'll always have something, but I want you to, if you're a coffee drinker, bring coffee. and we'll swap, right? Like I like to try what somebody else has brought along, right?
So you guys hit the mountains all the time. You guys are out there exploring, you're camping, you're living life. What is it about the mountains that keeps on drawing you all the way from Saskatchewan?
So mostly going back to the mountains is Sean was fortunate growing up in BC. He lived in a lot of places. And it's going back and seeing a lot of that nostalgia with Sean. And then as we go back, I really like to explore the areas we go to. I've gotten pretty good at looking on maps and trying to find places that we'd like to poke. And like I said, every trail leads you to 5 more places that you want to explore. They're beautiful. And there's something about them that just recharges your soul. And I want to make more memories out there.
Yeah, Amanda often jokes that she's got to take me back to recharge. And it is true. I don't know. Like, when I first moved east, like into Alberta and then like Saskatchewan now, it scared the crap out of me. Pardon me, but wow, there's no mountains. This is wild. It's so sad. True to be okay with it. But when we go back, I'm like, there's just, I don't know. I just all of a sudden I sit down, I'm like, take a deep breath.
He's happier every time we go back. Like I make a joke that like we get into the mountains anytime that we slow, but below 80 kilometers an hour. And you can almost watch the speedometer. Like you hit 80 and Sean's window goes down and he's just loving life.
Yeah. But out here, the window's up all the time because the wind's constantly blowing. But get there and I'm just, I don't know. I slow down. Everything slows down for me there too, right? Speed limit, hell, I'll go slower. I'm just
and like
enjoying it.
Depending on the places you are, like if you're down around Squamish, you're on the island and you're in Cedars, why wouldn't you want to go slow and breathe that in? That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just, we are so fortunate to live close to a place like BC and even the border there with Alberta, the Yukon. Look around. This is amazing where we can go. And the freedom that we have is pretty fortunate, right? You look south and there's a lot of control. Amanda took a trip down to Idaho on her own, actually, took the truck down to go pick up the sliders. And she told me some stories, just how hard it is to find a camp spot sometimes, right? Like you can't just pull off. Or you'll have a sheriff there going, what are you doing? They expect you to use.
Sean and I we harvest firewood when we're out. Every day we'll harvest firewood so that we can cook and have a fire in the evening. And in the States, you're not harvesting. Absolutely not. You're buying. I felt like a real overlander because I went and bought my first bundle of wood to have a campfire. And I was like, yeah, it's rite of passage.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but
you're right.
Freedom.
Gather your water, gather your wood, and enjoy the beautiful scenery that we are fortunate enough to take advantage of.
And we are so lucky in Canada. Like you say, I mentioned last night, or that I went camping last night, and I was 15 minutes, 20 minutes from home and doing it. And it was on Crown land. It wasn't at a rec site or whatever. It was just a spot one of my little favorite spots that are close to town. And it's just quick and easy. And a lot of people in even the States don't even have that ability to do that.
Well, speaking of, you mentioned a little spot out of town. When we came out for the Sportsman Light Truck AEV run, you gave us a nice pin south of town. And that was really appreciated because I got to have a shower because we were on a 12-day trip.
Oh, you're welcome. It's good. That one's so close. And that's just one of those random ones that are just so close to town, right?
So quick and easy. Like it couldn't have been more perfect.
Now, you guys explore the Yukon, I heard, and your Saskatchewan, Alberta, BC. Where else would you want to go?
I think we haven't been back to Prince Rupert yet. And Sean's born in Rupert. I would very much like to see that. I'd like to go out to Haida Gwaii. If you're going to go to Rupert, you might as well go to Haida Gwaii. And Sean used to commercial fish out there. I'd like to see that memory revisited. I really would like to go out by Bella Coola and to Ocean Falls. The history behind that really intrigues me. And I want to take Sean back up northern Saskatchewan. There's a lot of places that my dad used to take us that I would like to share with him. And then there's always the favorites. Like the East Kootenays are always beautiful. You have to go back to them almost every season. You got to hit them at least once. I don't know. There's no real limit. I would love to come to Ontario. I want to go muskie fishing so bad because pike are a big thing in Saskatchewan. I'd like to catch a muskie. And we've made a few friends out there. Tasha, just a Jeep girl. Yeah. I'd love to actually meet her because we could get into some shenanigans together, her and I, I'm sure of it. And then there's a few Colorado boys that we have, like Alberta ZR2 and the Ontario ZR2 boys have a little bit of a fun rivalry going on. I'd like to meet those guys. East coast of Canada is beautiful. Where isn't beautiful? There's no bad place to go.
Nope.
Even southern Saskatchewan's beautiful.
The Cypress Hills area is beautiful. Yeah, the scenery is so varied in Saskatchewan, and it's so underlooked.
Yeah, definitely. You mentioned heading back to Ontario. Our interview last week was with Matt from Maple Overland, and he actually does a lot of fishing. So if you guys ever go back to Ontario, if you want to hit some of that muskie and pike and that, talk to Matt from Maple Overland, and he'll get you out. He does a lot of that fishing.
That's awesome. Yeah, I would like to hammer just massive muskies.
That's one thing about the overlanding community that I've noticed is that the whole thing of Instagram has helped bring us all together. If it wasn't for Instagram, I don't think it would be as a tight-knit group as what it is. We saw Facebook and there's forums and stuff like that, but I think Instagram's really brought it together. But the whole overland community, it really is a community, for lack of better terms.
It really is a community, and it's very supportive. And like when you're just starting out, it's so many great resources and so many people with experience. You can get different opinions, because the cool thing about overlanding is that everybody does it just a little bit differently. Mm-hmm. And you have to decide what you want to get out of it, and then you gear out accordingly. And the community is so helpful with that. And you get 1,000 suggestions, and you can pick the solution that's right for you. Although some taken with a grain of salt because it is Facebook.
Our last question we ask all of our guests that join us is, what Canadian would you like to hear on the 4x4 Canada podcast?
We listened to the podcast. I knew you guys were going to ask, and we actually debated this for quite a while, because there's a lot of great Canadian content creators, and there's a lot of great Canadian companies. And I think you guys should bring on Calvin from 97 Customs. Yep. Number one, because Wes, you know him, and you know the cool stuff that Calvin builds. He knows so many different aspects of different resources that you can source in BC, how to support Canada. He's a great resource for solar. If you're looking into van life, he is so creative, and his builds are so clean and meticulous. I love what he does. Yep. So yeah, I would bring on Calvin from 97 Customs. He's also a great chat. Like he is. You can't have.
He's got some great stories, whether it be from the van side of things or from the motorbike side of things.
Yeah, I was just going to say, from adventure biking.
Yeah. First time we met Calvin was at an expo, and I recognized his name, and he looked familiar. And I asked him if he had been in Backroader, which is 4x4
Four-Wheel Drive Association's magazine, right?
Yeah.
Hang on. This one. The Backroader, which we actually get because we're part of it. I asked him if he had done an adventure bike piece for the Backroader, and he said no. And I was like, that's so weird. It just stuck with me. So I came home and I looked it up, and he totally did, and he forgot about it.
Yeah, super nice guy. Very first Vernon meet and greet was at his shop. And got to really see what he did there for the first time. And it impressed me. He's doing propane heaters. I'm doing diesel heaters. I don't know. I think diesel's better. And, had a little showdown, and decided that you can keep your propane.
Yeah. Situational uses, and you have some good points, but I'll stick with what I've got.
But he's got some great ideas.
He does. And he's got some great stories. I've spent a few nights around a campfire with him, and once you get some whiskeys into him and get going, and there's some stories that are just incredible. Yeah. So
they're great. Pro tip, throw Liz on around him and see how angry he gets.
but yet still sings along.
Yeah, it's catchy enough that he'll sing it, but he's hateless, Ralph.
I'm going to have to remember that because I'm pretty sure that we're going camping in February or March. We did the same thing last year, and the whole gang's ready to go again. So I'll have to bring that up.
Yeah, you guys have such a great community. It's always nice when we can come and visit.
Yeah, I have to admit that whole Vernon area, there's a bunch of great people in that whole.
There's a ton.
Yeah, I don't know what it is.
It's getting more and more active. In large part to, I think they changed it to Vernon Overland Connect now or something.
I believe, something like that.
Which is a good rebrand because that's really what it is. It's bringing everybody together.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. But the whole interior of BC is funny. We think of the guys in the Kootenays and the people on the coast with the ocean and the Vancouver Island and that, but the interior, there's a bunch of great people in that whole community there.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's a bunch of beautiful sites in the interior too. Yeah. All of BC is beautiful.
Yeah, definitely. Anybody else that you can think of you want to recommend?
I would throw 905 Colorado under the bus. He's from Ontario, and we got to throw that side of the country just a little bit of love, even though I think West Coast.
There's definitely a cult following with the ZR2s.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Yeah. That's one thing I've really noticed about the ZR2
Once
family.
You drive one, you get it. If you have the opportunity, go down to, I think it's Area 52, where they have the GM track where you can go and test drive them.
Yep.
They're super fun to drive. They're very capable. Yep. You got your front and rear lockers off the showroom floor. If you get like the new Bison, it comes with 35s. Like you're set off the showroom floor. Just go have fun.
Yeah, my boss actually has one the same color as yours. Probably the same year, too, kind of idea. So it's not modified as much as yours, but yeah, they're great rigs.
They really are. They're very capable and they're very comfortable. There's a reason old men like Chevys, too. Yeah. They're comfortable to drive.
Comfort. Do you know what that means, Trisha? A comfortable ride and a comfortable seats?
Cushy seats. You can sit in them for 12 to 15 hours and be happy still.
No.
You got to get her digs in on the Jeep people every once in a while.
You do.
Once again, we are talking with Sean and Amanda from mountainsandmemories.ca on Instagram. And I really want to thank you guys for coming on and taking a couple hours out of your Sunday to spend with us. We really appreciate that.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah, it was a fun chat.
Awesome. We're going to wrap it up here. And once again, thanks a lot. And to our members, if you please remember to check out that survey at 4x4canadapodcast.com. We really appreciate any input you can give us on how to improve the podcast, how we can make it better for your listening experience. There's also a little bit of information there that's going to help us with our metrics, figuring out our metrics and who our listeners are and what you guys are looking to hear on the podcast and how we can improve. So once again, check out the survey, 4x4canadapodcast.com. Sean and Amanda, I really appreciate you guys spending time with us.
Yeah, it was awesome. Thank you. And hope to see you at the meet and greet.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely can't wait to sit around the fire with you guys again.
Yeah, it'll be good.